There we go.
All right, hey, give me a sec. I got to run downstairs and grab my
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah.
I just ran back up.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool.
Let's see. Got Maccabeus. I'm not sure who else is here. We're already off to a late start with this live stream. Apologize about that, guys. Had some technical difficulties. All right. Gotta wait on. Oh, there he is.
I think I'm here.
Yep. I can hear you now.
Oh, all righty.
Yeah. Fortunately, we don't have a whole lot of people here right now. It's just 2 people at the moment. I know Aid said he's going to eventually show up, but
yeah.
Apologize for this.
No, like I said, the time changed on the thing.
Yeah, it should have been 5 p.m. your time. I don't know why I would say 6 on your time because like my time's Mountain Standard, so it don't make any sense. Yeah, like I said, I had to do that last minute run over to the bank because, like I said, the my federal income refund check came in. I wasn't expecting it for at least another 2 more weeks, but it came in. At the end of the day. So I thought maybe I had enough time to run it down there. There's Aid. Maccabeus is here. But I tell you what, that one video you did a few weeks ago, and like I said, we wanted to do this live stream probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I got sick. And then, of course, last week you had a softball game. You had to attend for your girls, so I understand that. But, like, you had me chomping at the bit because I was getting, I was like, you're talking about, the bad prepping advice that people give, especially that whole, man, my favorite one is like everybody's saying, yeah, when the crap hits the fan, I'm just going to grab my rifle, my bug out bag, and I'm going to go out to the woods. It's like, you and everybody else, man. You and everybody else. Not me.
Well, that seems to be the knowledge one gets from YouTube, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, I've had people that aren't on YouTube that aren't even a part of the quote unquote community.
Yeah, I know lots of people that say the same thing too, because that's kind of the accepted wisdom, I guess.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, and then you brought up on that one video, the lady with 2 kids who's like, thought that was the solution to, get a bug out bag for her kids and herself and go out to the woods. It's like, like I said, when I made my video about how that was a bad idea, I didn't even take into account children. I was just thinking, just everyday average person like myself, it's like, what happens if you get a mechanical injury? You're kind of hosed if you're by yourself and you're out there in the woods.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus if you just take it, the whole bug out concept's been altered, right? So should you have a plan to leave? Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But this whole mythical, magical bag that you're going to stuff everything in and you're going to go wander out into the wilderness and survive. Like, okay, 90, what, just to be nice, we'll say 90% of incidents that happen don't require that.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And like, I guess, like, for instance, like Palestine, Ohio, be a good example why you'd want to have, plans to, bug out to the woods and everything. Well, not woods, I should say, but just bug out in general, just get out of there. Because the government, they're not being clear or forthcoming, whether or not it's actually safe to still be in that area, you know, considering, you know, they had the chemical spill and they I guess allegedly the fires were lit on purpose to burn off all the chemicals. And, you know,
Well, yeah, but if you just take that scenario there, right? And let's say we go with the YouTube wisdom,
yeah,
the wisdom of the all-knowing YouTubers. So it's gone south. You've grabbed your bag that is sitting by your door because for some reason your life needs to have a bag there so you can run at a moment's notice. Okay. So you grab that bag and you run out there and you take off. Well, one, where are you going?
yeah,
Uh, two, how's that bag actually going to help you? Because
exactly.
you go to get a hotel room 200 miles away because we're going to say you got in a car, which the bag, nobody ever talks about getting in a car. Some people try to. They're like, I'll just throw it in my car. Okay, that isn't why you made it. You didn't. That's why you weren't mentally masturbating to it to begin with, right? Because you
Yeah.
wanted this fantasy of you're going to go hike out into the woods. So you got that bag and you show up at a hotel and you go, well, I have a saw. Okay. And did you bring your wallet? Oh no, I brought my bag.
I brought my bag.
Yeah, like okay. And there was, I won't say names. There was a person that she jumped on YouTube to say, see, this is why you need a bag. This is why you need. I've seen her bag. She doesn't have anything that would have helped her right then. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you have a firebox with all your important documents in it and you can grab that, throw it in the car and drive away with your
Yeah.
wallet,
Exactly.
you know?
And like if you're a person like me, you know, I've got a born abroad birth certificate, you know, heaven forbid I lose that or I lose my social security card. I'm going to have a hell of a time trying to get copies of that because,
Right.
you know, oh, and Grateful Peasants in.
Wayne. Yeah, I mean, people, the bag, the bag itself got blown out of proportion, mostly because it was people echoing somebody that was trying to sell stuff.
Yeah.
Did you have a bag? Yeah, my get home bag that I used to carry.
Exactly. Thank you.
Had stuff in there similar to a bug out bag.
Mm-hmm.
But my goals, and this is where I started butting heads with these people. Whose goal is it to run out in the woods? And ain't shit stopping you. Go do it.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I mean?
I'm going to bring up some points that both Wayne and Aid brought up. First off, we'll start off with Aid. You know, Aid, you know, brought up the fact, you know, these people over there in England, you know, they practice bugging out and everything. And, you know, that's fine and dandy, you know, practicing it. But, you know, like he says, you know, it's a small island. And I did the math, you know, the entire, you know, the entire island of England, like all the islands combined, is 5,000 square miles smaller than the state of Colorado. And I think their population is somewhere between like 65 and 70 million people. I want to say it's like 68 or something like that.
Okay.
We'll say 68 million people. Colorado's got 5.5 million people. Even I wouldn't want to, you know, with 5,000 more square miles in this landmass and like a tenth of the population, I still wouldn't want to bug out because I guarantee you I'm going to run into somebody. I'm going to run across somebody that side, you know. But like he says, like Aid says, where are you going to bug out to, mate? Where are you going to bug out to?
So, I mean, to just, okay, not even where, just start with, you know, the whole W's, who, when, why, and where. Why? Why are you going to leave? Like, okay, so the train thing, they say get 1 mile away. Okay, if you're within that mile, then you move to 2 miles. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, you don't go and build a lean-to in the woods and start trying to make a fire. You know, I want to make a fire. No, no, you're gonna go to grandma's house. You're gonna go to a hotel, right?
Exactly.
So you get to the hotel and you got trapping gear in your bag. What the hell's that doing for you, right? Now
you're gonna trap the service animal in the room next to you.
The money that you should have had in the safe at your house that you left behind. Well, now you can't go buy McDonald's, but you got a trap. You know, it. Is there a place for it? Yeah, but it's not it's not.
That's not the end all be all.
Right. And that's what they try to make it out to be. And quite honestly, it's a lot of people repeating what the first people said, and they have no idea about actual emergency preparedness.
Yeah.
It just sounds cool.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know.
all right, I'm going to say this much. Like, the idea by itself is a horrible idea, but like, if you, like I said, you've got to have additional plans, additional steps to go with it, you know, otherwise it just don't make any sense. Like, if, like I said in my video, if you got a place that you're bugging out to, I'm not talking about going out to the state park. Like, let's say you got another property, you know, a
Right.
cabin or something that you're going to that's, you know, off the grid or, you know, off the beaten path. And that, yeah, that's the place to go to. But yeah, you just grab your bug out bag and your rifle, and it's like, you're going to run across every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there.
Well, and then, okay, so if you have your home that
Yeah.
hopefully you own or whatever, right?
Mhm. Or even
then-
an apartment you live in.
Yeah, and then you have another property somewhere else that you own that you can go to. I'm sorry, most people can't afford two properties. And if you can, you know, woo, more power to you, but I can't afford another property.
I know.
And so who is it that has all these two properties? And then you see some of these guys and they're like, well, yeah, I'm going to go out in the woods. And then they go out there and you see it and they're literally in a shack. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so what is going to drive me to take the family to a shack and not a hotel?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
no.
It just annoys the hell out of me, because I mean, yeah, you should have bags, and should you have, and I love how they changed it to an inch bag.
Yeah.
You know, no,
I'm never coming
yeah.
back home
When
or
in
something.
the is that going to happen, right? And then if you watch the people who have actually done that, the refugees from like Syria or other places, they're not carrying all the stuff that people say you need. You know,
Yeah.
you'll see moms carrying blankets and baby stuff,
Mhm.
you know, because the, how do I say it? The world doesn't disappear, right? If it flipped right now, my house would still be here. The neighbor's house would still be
Yeah.
here. If the U.S. went down, well, hopefully Mexico would still be a society. Canada would still be one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
You should plan ahead. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
in my opinion, like unless there is like absolute imminent danger that's coming your way, and you know for a fact without a shadow of a doubt in the back of your mind, I'm not talking about paranoia, you know for a fact without a shadow of a doubt in your mind, if you stay at your house you're going to die, then it's understandable to have some sort of preparations to leave. But me personally, I'm not going to just grab a freaking bag. I'm going to try to load up the back of my truck, back of my pickup truck, with as many supplies as I can take with me.
Yes. So, and here was another one that I always get when I butt heads with these people. Nobody's ever bugged out, so nobody actually knows. Bullshit, man. I just did it a couple years ago at the old house when there was a fire. We had to decide what we're taking, what we're not taking. And it's not the first time we've had to make that decision, but this was the first time we actually had to go. You know, because we had the little ones, and me and the boss weren't gonna risk it with the little ones. You know, we're like, let's just go.
Yeah.
So,
And then Wayne brings up a good point too. Like those people that have the second properties, the vast majority of those people pay rent. So, you know.
yeah, well, if you have enough money for two properties, okay, cool, because most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people don't have, you know, I don't have this house down here and a house in Tahoe or something that's far
Yeah.
enough away that it wouldn't affect where I'm at. Now, if you got your house where you're at and, you know, 10 miles away, 20 miles away, you got a hunting shack or something. Oh, okay. But now, if it's going to make you go away from your house, it's probably going to affect that area too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then a lot of these people, they say you know, you must have your bug out property or you're not for reals. Most of these people can't afford to figure out how to pay their bills during the month. You know, you
Yeah.
tell them go stack some food, and they're like, I don't have any money to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was something that Wayne brought up too, is, you know, you got these other quote unquote preppers out there. Just rack up your credit card and buy 20 years worth of freeze dried foods and everything, you know, and you'll be good. You'll be set for the apocalypse.
But see, that's not emergency preparedness. That's not taking it one step at a time and getting to where you need to be. You know, it's ridiculous. And like the concept of bugging out is just dumb, because so until 3 years ago and the wonderful flu showed up, everybody was like, you got to run, you got to run, you got to run, right? Okay, well, real things happened, and all those people that for the 10 years previous were saying you got to run, well, they stayed home.
Yeah.
In fact, I won't say names because I'm not going to do that on your channel.
Oh no, that's okay.
Okay,
let's see.
so,
hang on. We're at the. Let's see. Where are we at the 10-minute mark? Because I don't. You know, I really don't care.
Let me see. I don't know if it'll say. Oh, it won't say over here. It should say on your thing.
Yeah. Hang on one sec. I have no idea. You know, I'll
do it without names. So there was one fella who looks like a refugee who for 10 years was saying, you got to move out. You got to move out. He's not the only one. He's just in this whole crew. And I'll wrap them all up here in a second. You got to run out, you know, and live in the woods now. Okay. Well, when the virus came, when there was government tyranny, all these other things, he ran back to the suburbs. Right. Yeah. And then when he was questioned about it, he said, well, I had family issues and I had to come back here. Well, this is the same refugee looking fine human being that before that would say there's no excuses. You go out there, you live out here in the woods like I do. And to the point that he was building a refugee camp in what was supposedly his backyard, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, then reality hit and all these people stopped talking about bugging out, because you would think they would have told everybody to run now because COVID's going to kill everybody, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't, because in real life emergency preparedness, what's everybody want to do first? Get home, make sure the family's good.
Yeah.
That's why when I started my channel, I started off with my get home bag. I don't have a bug out bag. Do I have big ass bags I could throw a whole bunch of stuff in? Yeah. And they'd be really heavy, and I don't want to carry them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. That was the other thing too. Like when I was putting together one of my trucking, back when I used to drive trucks over the road, I was putting together my truck over the road trucker get home bag.
Right.
I had somebody in the comments section, well, you could put a bag of seeds in there. Why would I want to put a bag of seeds in there? What's the point of that? What you think I'm going to be out in the woods trying to play farmer or something? Like I'm trying to get home. That's you're missing the point here.
No, you should be like Johnny Appleseed, throwing apple seeds as you go across the countryside.
Yeah. Considering the majority of where I live right here, a lot of this is considered high desert, like technically, just because we don't get enough rainfall. I doubt any of that would sprout.
No, I had somebody make a comment on my get home bag saying that you know, I had to go 60 miles, and I guess it dawned on him that I wasn't going straight through Los Angeles. No, you know, I can go up the coast.
It's okay. You can say no shit.
I can go up the coast where there's beach communities that are the vast majority of beach communities have a higher class of civilized people living there than if I took the straight route. Yeah. But this guy just wanted to say something so bad about it because I wasn't saying I got a bug out bag. Okay, Fulio. And then in his own comments, he realized, oh, you're going to go around. I'm like, yeah, no shit, dude. You know, but they just get so I must defend this because these people that I speak to or that I follow, they have to be right. Otherwise, I have to admit I got okey doked. Does that make sense? And what's that old saying? You can fool somebody easier than show them they got fooled, or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not familiar with that saying.
But it's just harder to get people to admit that they were wrong.
Yeah,
to, you know, keep bluffing them. So, and yeah, so and I try to explain it in one video. I was doing some urban survival ones because nobody does them because it's too hard to do them, I guess. And I showed how you would do it. How would you leapfrog from, say, my house to my homeboy's house to grandma's house, as the event progressed, if I needed to move all the way out. I think I was at 4 or 5 jumps before I even got to the forest,
Yeah.
and I know that's different for other folks in different areas or whatever, but just that's how you do it. That's how you evacuate in real life. There's real ways to do it, and there's ways that are just folklore, I guess, urban
Yeah.
legend in YouTube.
And like I said, and one of my favorite comments that I had seen, it wasn't on one of my videos, it was somewhere else. And somebody's saying, like, I've got a year's worth of food in my bug out bag. I don't think so. I don't think so.
If you're on
You might have like 2 weeks. If it's like vacuum sealed, freeze dried food, you might have 2 weeks, maybe.
I'd like to see their calorie intake.
Yeah.
If you're doing 200 calories a day and you're starting off at 800 pounds, you might be able to balance that out, last a little while. You ain't gonna be doing it much, but you
Better
might
be packing some seeds.
Yeah, exactly. You might. Oh,
But like I said, even and like I said, I love going back to the whole seed thing, because like even in the most ideal of circumstances where the temperature is just right, the climate is just right, the soil has got the perfect amount of nutrients, the perfect amount of moisture, we get the right amount of rainfall. At best, you're looking at 3 weeks before the seed sprouts. It takes like 2 to 3 weeks for the seed to germinate, and then you're going to be sitting there waiting another 2 more weeks after that, 2 to 3 more weeks after that, till it actually produces anything that's worth eating.
yeah. Well, that's why I took that seed vault I got, and I took some seeds and threw it in my little garden just to see, just to see what happens with it. I think I got 1% of what I threw down. Actually, something came up,
Yeah.
And if I was out there trying to scratch out some kind of little farming spot, a little garden under my lean-to, while the family's freezing to death, because if I run to the hills right now, just over that way, it's all covered in snow. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's my plan. Grab my bag and run out there, and then freeze to fucking death. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then it brings up yeah, it brings up this like here, freaking spring and summer are very, very short out here. Like the I should say the growing season's super short out here. Like for most part, general rule of thumb, you don't plant anything until after, a week after Mother's Day out here, because we've gotten late snowfalls. I remember seeing, a foot of snow. We got a foot of snow literally like 6 days before Memorial Weekend.
Yeah.
Just down, nowhere.
Yeah.
And winters come pretty early. Like we usually get our first snowfall during October. Granted, like I said, our winters are pretty dry, but it gets cold. It gets brutally cold, and especially up there in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like it was like a couple weeks ago, they had like up in Craig, Colorado, they had like temperatures of like negative 38 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got these jackholes that are thinking, oh, I'll just bug out to the woods. Yeah, like you said, you freaking freeze to death.
Well,
But
now out there in the hills up here, the mountains up here, Arrowhead, all the way up the mountains that go on the side of California there, they're under like 6 feet of snow. So if I was a ardent follower of some of these people, and I had my bag by the door, and I woke up the next morning and there was snow, 5 feet of snow, my only option is to bug out, right? Because we don't ever talk about bugging in. They do now, but before,
it's not cool enough to bug in. That's why they don't talk about it.
No, it is now. Now after COVID, it's okay now, when they realize the stuff they were preaching before was a fallacy. Now the bugging in part's okay. But you still got to have your bug out plan. So I would grab my bag and go into 6 feet of snow, because that's my plan. And there's people getting on cell phones, begging for people to bring them food and stuff up there. And even the authorities can't even get to them because it's so bad out there right now. But if I had been watching YouTube land, I go, well, kids, old lady, grab your bags and let's find some snowshoes and we're walking out of here in,
Yeah.
9-10 feet of freaking snow. Yeah, okay, buddy, have fun with that.
Yeah. Hey, Gray Man. Gray Man's here.
Hey, Gray Man.
Gil, how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it has its place, but it's been blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
It's like saying that the tennis shoes you wear make you play basketball better.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you brought up the whole shoe thing. Like I even said, your equipment's gonna wear out. Everything's gonna wear out, assuming you don't die, assuming you don't freeze to death, you don't die of exposure, or you don't die from a mechanical injury or anything like that.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna wear out. Your shoes are gonna wear out. Your clothes are gonna wear out. How many changes of clothes are you gonna carry?
Hey, dude, if you ask people just about having moleskin, they go, huh? Which just tells me, okay, if you don't know what moleskin is, you haven't walked a lot in a pair of boots.
Mm-hmm.
And being infantry, I walked a lot in boots, and I know what moleskin's for.
Yeah.
So, and I've asked some super cool people, that simple question. Don't know the answer, but they'll tell you they're all that in a bag of chips. It's like, no, you're not, man. And it's just, I don't know. There's way more to it, but it's an easy answer to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I guess I'll just kind of go over, like I said, like I said, I'm also prior military, but like I said, unlike you and Wayne and a lot of other people, I didn't get to do any cool shit. I was just, all I was a torpedo man's mate in the U.S. Navy. That's it. That's all I did. As far as, like I said, as far as other experience, the cool tactical experience that everybody likes to talk about, I didn't do CQC. I didn't do quick response or any of that. The only thing I did was guard a submarine with a shotgun and a sidearm. That was it.
Right.
As far as and then I got, machine gun qualled for the light belt fed machine gun, the Mark 48 light machine gun. That's the only thing I did. That's about the extent of my military career. And then I did some figure eights out in the Atlantic because the ship that I was attached to was a brand spanking new ship and they were still doing sea trials.
Okay, but you really need to work on it. We need to change, your resume there. We need to work on it and make it sound much cooler than that. All right.
Yeah, well, I think I've done more exploration as a civilian than I did, in the military. Like I said, I didn't get to go any cool places at all. Like the coolest place I'd been is just being an over-road truck driver, driving 46 of the 48 lower United States.
Let me guess. The only state you didn't come to was California, huh?
Oh, I've been in California more times than I can count.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, the only states I hadn't, I should say 45 of the 48 because I hadn't been to Maine, I hadn't been to Vermont, and I haven't been to Delaware. And those are the only states I hadn't been to in the lower 48. Obviously, I haven't been to Alaska or Hawaii. So
Aid makes a good point there where he says most people don't know what Gore-Tex is. Nope.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when we got our Gore-Tex when I was in, and it was like a new thing, and only us special kids got to get it. Oh man, it was great. It was just, it was I don't know. It was like sliced bread. It was so good. Just the difference in between a regular field jacket and just your regular field gear and having Gore-Tex.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I had the Gore-Tex jacket, the outer shell jacket for the rain gear, for my, I guess they call it a Navy working uniform. Everybody else would have called it a BDU or an ACU or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
see, Wayne's helping you out. Wayne says you are a patrol captain in charge of 100 million in classified nuclear material with 100% success rate. There you go. See, you got to work on that resume there.
Oh God. I'm not gonna try to upsell myself. Okay, I mean, only fakers and Cheeto eaters do that.
There you go. No, that's why another reason when I had issues here on YouTube or still continue to, when I just flat out put my resume out there because there's too many of them that are faking it. There's too many of them selling falsehoods. And
Yeah.
it would be cool as if something really bad did happen and the old SHTF happened. And then, I don't know, like 5 years later, we gathered everybody up and said, okay, so what you told me didn't work. So now we're going to stone you to death. But, they say this stuff with no repercussions. They know they don't have any repercussions. I've even had idiots admit that the advice they give out is for entertainment. Well, why don't you say that? Why don't you say, hey, this is just for
Quit
entertainment.
misleading people. Like you
Yeah.
said, that mother, and you said she had like an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I guess for me, like I said, I've never really thought too much about the women and children aspect. I always thought, okay, I always thought things in my perspective. Okay, I'm a 30-something-year-old guy, single guy. I'm by myself. I didn't really think so much about having children until, because that puts a whole new level, of crap that you have to worry about.
Right.
And I guess I'm just thinking about the logistic aspects for myself. It's like I can't carry enough clothes. I can't carry enough food. Sure as hell can't carry enough water. And everything I own is eventually going to wear out to at one point in time, it's going to wear out, either because of being constantly exposed to the sun, constantly exposed to the elements. Classic example, boots wear out. And I'm sure you're aware of that. Boots wear out.
Yep.
I friggin', my short time in the Navy, I think I bought like probably about 6 pairs of boots, and I wore them every day for work, and everything. They're going to wear out a lot.
It's only since I've retired that I haven't bought a new pair of boots every year.
What's that?
I mean, it's only since I've retired that I haven't bought a new pair of boots every year. I actually bought the boots. I don't have them on right this second, but the boots I usually wear, I bought those, I don't know, middle of last year, just because I wanted something besides black boots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to buy a new pair of boots every year because they would get wore out. And then, here's another question for the bug out thing is, when do you go back?
Yeah.
How do you know? So are you
when everyone has died?
Yeah. Are you humping out enough communications equipment that you're going to be able to still know what's going on back where you came from?
They probably don't even know what communications equipment is.
It's commo, man, because dude picked that up from an Army guy. That's how you know somebody's in the Army, if they say commo, and then you just go, fucking Army. But no, I mean, they never come up with, when do you come back, which is part of actual planning. Like, how do you keep the information flowing to you so you can adapt to the situation as it happens? Because the answer is grab your bag, go to the wilderness, and begin civilization again.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's left?
I don't know if that's for the comment section of the stream or if that's for
No, I think that's in reference to when I was saying gather everybody back up and then have them pay for what they were saying not working.
Yeah. I do love that though. That analogy though, bringing bringing all your traps and snares with you to the hotel.
No, I've seen guys' bags where they do that, and because that's where they come from, right? Some of these dudes are like trappers,
yeah.
But then you see other dudes do it who are copying them, yeah. Like, I mean, I got snares and traps in the house, but I'm not like no expert with them. And if we get to the point that I got to start setting traps out here somewhere, I mean, that's a bad day.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Yeah, well, it's a bad day if you have to start using those seeds that you packed in your bug out bag.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's why I think people need to start with the reality situations, and not just me, but other folks keep saying it. Get your finances straight first.
Yeah. Well, that's something that Wayne harps on all the time, and yeah. I think I've heard other people harp on the same thing. I mean, I know that's a Dave Ramsey thing, that's for certain.
Oh, and Dave's Ramsey thing works. Now, after you get squared away, some of his ideas after
that's what I was thinking too. Yeah,
like wishy-washy. But up into the you're clear of debt thing, man, it's solid. It works.
Yeah.
I did it. I've had other people do it. It works. And once you got once you got the money thing squared away, then you can maybe go buy the other bug out location wherever that is, right?
Yeah.
Then you
Well,
can go buy the silky saw.
yeah. Well, I should ask the question because, like, even Prepper Nurse One brought this up. It's like, why bug out? Why not live at your quote unquote bug out location full time? Why not bug in? Why not live at the place where you plan to be? That,
So, and here's the thing, for 99% of us, we do.
yeah.
Because we don't plan on bugging out, because there was storms here recently, right?
Mhm.
And we had flood warnings, and it was don't go anywhere because the roads are screwed up. There was over that way a couple miles, there was people stuck in the intersection because I wasn't going to grab my bag and run
Maccabeus, how's it going?
out in the woods with the kids and the wife, right? I stayed here.
Yeah.
This is my location until it's no longer tenable. Then I
Yep.
will go somewhere else, right?
Exactly.
But when they say that, it's because they want to elevate themselves to, I live in the woods, I have a chicken and a goat, and you don't. I shall survive the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Get out of here, man. The ones that say that you must live at your bug out location, okay, let's take real emergency preparedness, real emergency planning. They've taken the whole section about evacuations and threw it out.
Yeah.
But then they're going to tell you, do what I did. Why? Because then I'll get to where you're at and I won't have any plans.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, like I said, like for instance, like I said, I don't do a whole lot of watching Prepper Nurse One. I haven't watched any of his stuff lately, but like I thought I think he has some pretty good points as far as like just be a homesteader and live at your place, you plan to be at, when the crap hits the
That's
fan.
different.
Yeah.
Being a homesteader is different, right?
Yeah.
That's coming at it from a different view. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everybody comes at it from where like you said more than once now when you were trucking. So you come at it from that. You understand there's this big, wide open freaking country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you understand that there's parts of it that there's nothing there.
Yep.
Yeah. That you go from this town to that town and there ain't shit. Right.
Yeah.
So
Wyoming classic example.
Right. So when they say go out into the woods, you're going, hey man, between here and there ain't
no
shit.
trees. There ain't no freaking trees. You're out in the open. You're out in the freaking windswept fields of Wyoming.
Yeah. And trust me, this last summer when me and the kids were out that way, we were driving and our navigator in 240 miles turned right. So we got to run and joke in the family where hey, guess what we're doing at 240 miles? Turning right. Because there's just nothing there, right? So the homesteaders will come at it from a homestead, and I'm not saying this is wrong. They come at it from the homesteader angle. Good for them, right? Because they're going to stay home, which goes back to the number one thing everybody's going to do is stay home.
Yeah.
Again,
like I said, eventually I hope to get to that point where I can actually have a homestead. And
dude, I would like a ranch and horses and all that good stuff,
Yeah. I mean, horses would be nice, but I guess for me, just getting to the level where I can actually have like chickens and goats and rabbits.
Yeah.
And
like
just take one step at a time, eventually get to where I need to be.
Right. Because you want to do the homesteader thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, yes, I would.
I'm not a homesteader, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, when I say I want a ranch, I want to, Yellowstone, the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be the head guy, and I got all these other people working for me that know how to do the cows and the horses and stuff, and I just get to live there and be cool.
Yeah.
But
I think there's a giant ranch over there in Texas near El Paso. I don't even remember how many acres it was. It's like several million acres. And I can't remember if it was up for sale, but it's got like, I want to say like 4 or 5 different homesteads on the entire property because it's so huge. It's
right.
Several square miles.
I mean, that would be great. It's not, I'm where I'm at, and then I'm going to make where I'm at better. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I was going to, you brought up a good point on Gil's live stream that, at one time, that one night, talking about these people, saying, "Oh, I'm Billy Badass," and me and my buddy, we got a shotgun, we got our beer, and we're gonna give anybody we're gonna tell anybody what for that comes up our driveway, blah blah blah. I mean, at the end of the day, any homestead can be overrun, any ranch can be overrun, but me, I would like to get to a point where I could actually set up some fortifications. Now, I know, like I said, I'm not delusional, because I know that any obstacle, any fortification you put up, it's not going to keep the bad guys out. All it's going to do is slow them down, hopefully long enough for you to get a quick reaction force out there to deal with them.
Right.
But I would like to have at least a couple of 8-foot fences surrounding the property. Maybe not the entire property, but at least the immediate home where I live, where I lay my head down at night.
For, like, let's say, I don't know, you win the lottery tomorrow, right? And you go to do that, and this baffles me when people say, "Well, I'm going to build a bunker." Who was that other dude? Southern Prepper Dork, whatever the hell his name is.
Southern Prepper 1.
Yeah, I think that's his name. The one that does the daily report things now because he doesn't have anything else to say. He was digging a fighting position behind his house.
That better be a last-ditch effort freaking fighting position, because you really don't want to be fighting at your doorstep or even at your mailbox.
Thank you. Yeah. And how about you incorporate defensive positions into this dream house you buy? Because a patio that's a sunken patio that, there might or might not be the ability to stand up and not expose yourself to the downhill slope that comes up to your patio. Your door may be solid steel, those things.
Yeah, I have not watched Southern Prepper in a long time, like in a while. Like, he's had some, I won't discount any of these guys. Like, now, if they're going to say stupid shit that's obvious, like, okay, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, but some of these guys do bring up some good points. But yeah, it does, I don't know. It's kind of like Canadian Prepper, where his channel for me went downhill when he just started talking about doom and gloom. It's just give me some doom and gloom to mentally masturbate to.
Yeah, he would when he would talk about concepts and principles, especially psychological ones that I guess is his background or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's thought provoking. Okay. But when he started trying to give everybody their hopium hit, and here's your fear porn hit and all that good stuff, yeah, whatever, dude. He showed what he was about, So, which goes back to human nature, which is something else that is left out in a lot of these things, the ultimate fantasy of grabbing your bag and running to the woods and you and all your bestest buddies hanging out there. Okay, yeah, I mean, these are the guys that come hang out in your garage while you're fixing cars and you drink some beer.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're like under stress.
Yeah, and I was about ready to say the same thing. Yeah, because everything's good. Everything's good. We get to hang out for a few hours, but then at the end of the day, we both go our separate ways. We go to our own houses. We're not constantly near each other 24/7.
And you having been on ship, you know what that's like.
Yeah.
You get that one dude that just breathes on the other guy one too many times, and they go to fisticuffs over it. Now imagine your whole family's pushed in there with you.
I had guys actually take actual freaking swings at me. I was trying to do my job, while we're at sea.
Yeah.
I was messenger of the watch, trying to wake people up for their shifts, and they literally freaking out of nowhere, freaking fist comes at me out of my face, through the curtain on the bunk, and I'm like, mother.
Yeah, we didn't have curtains on our bunks.
Yeah.
No,
well,
but
it's understandable for us, why we have curtains, because it's friggin', you got like 4 racks stacked up on top of each other. And, it's literally coffin accommodations. Like, I'd have my laptop sitting on top of my belly with the lid open. The top of the lid would touch the bunk above me. That's how much space there was, which isn't a lot.
Wayne says that's why the Navy used to have boxing hallway through deployment. There you go. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but you know, that's I think the last couple years have opened people's minds to reality, you know, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. And hopefully it helps people get a real a view of this in reality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because I mean, the thing you got to think about that's probably going to happen is, you know, are you going to lose your job? Are you going to lose your house? Those things come first. And by lose your house, I mean fire, flood.
Yeah.
And they got money to pay for it. You know,
Yeah. Well, I
those are the
mean,
real SHTFs.
I guess I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if I know repossessions have been a thing, been a thing throughout history ever since, banks introduced the first loan, but I don't know if people are losing their houses right now. I know the economy ain't doing great. And like I said, I lost my job recently, as of like a couple months ago, but that was mostly because they said that we need you here full time. We can't have any part-time concrete truck drivers. So, they kind of gave me the ultimatum. Either I turn in a resignation letter so that way I could still be eligible to be hired, so that way I can continue going to school, or uh, they just let me go as it was. So yeah, that's the only thing that sucks right now is just my freaking schooling takes up almost all my free time.
Yeah. Well, something like that is more of a for real issue that somebody's going to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The the bug out bag and the bug out scenario is it's in a fantasy realm at the moment, you know? And then if everything goes to shit tomorrow for whatever reason, insert favorite reason, right? It's not going to be what these people think it's going to be. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so they're at their house and, you know, they got food on the shelves, but they're going to grab this bag and go out in the woods. What are you going to do with the food on your shelves, man? You
Yeah.
know, like they
I
don't,
guess that's just going to go to the neighbors.
I guess, because they never discuss any of that stuff, you know. And I'm sorry, but the ones that say, you know, come live out in the woods because that's where we live and we're super smarter than you, it's just a fucking cop out, man. That's all it
Yeah.
is. Like, okay, I'm glad you live in the woods and you got your little shack in the woods. Great, man. Um, and tell me what I should do because that's what you're supposed to be doing on YouTube. That's what you present yourself as, you know.
Yeah.
Um, another issue I have with these people: 80 to 90% of the population lives in urban areas.
Yeah.
But these YouTube experts, they have no answers for them because, in all honesty, they don't fucking know anything. My least favorite pear-shaped human being, he went 2 weeks.
Is it Fat Man Prepper?
No, that would be Bear.
Oh.
I just call him Pear because he's shaped like a fucking
Pear.
pear. So old Pear there, because I watched when the COVID thing started, he went 2 weeks without addressing it. And then when he finally did, somebody had schooled him up on it. Does that make sense? Well, the rest of us that actually have a clue had been saying things and giving folks advice and saying, okay, here and here and here. It took him 2 weeks to have enough knowledge or whatever and have somebody write him a script because he doesn't actually fucking know anything, right? And his mentor never said anything about it, so he didn't have anything to repeat.
Yeah.
And that's what really bugs me about this stuff
If
is
like I say, if all right, if what you're telling me as far as that goes, him having a script written for him, if
yeah,
that's true, that man, that's sad. I really like.
it is, dude. No, it's
It's like,
true.
man,
If you've actually paid attention to that dude, he will tell you what he does, and I won't say their names, but I personally know people that he's done this to. If he wants to know about trucking, he's going to come hang out with you for 3 months. He said this on a fucking live stream that he will sit there, talk to you for 3 months. Once he has all the knowledge he needs of you, bye bye. He'll change his persona and then he can act like he's a trucker because he says the words. And because the dude has no background, the dude has no knowledge. What the ever? I mean, just don't want to get off on him. He's not the only one, right?
yeah,
Um, but they started doing it before everybody else, and they feed the algorithm and YouTube likes them and then they tell people what they want to hear. So hey, all you got to do All you got to do is have a bag with these things, and when bad things happen, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound better than me going, yeah, let's start with this. How about you go get a job and save some money and pay your bills off and plan on bugging in, and let's actually sit down and do some planning and write some things out, because that's the reality
Yeah,
of it,
yeah.
right?
And like I said, and there are other channels, hell, even Nuttin Fancy has brought up the, good, excellent point. It's like, why would you bug out? Like,
Mhm.
you've already got the four walls, the roof,
Yeah.
the ceiling. It's, you're in an area that's most familiar to you. You've got home field advantage because, if you're a
Yes.
good person, you know your surroundings, so you know
Yes.
your neighbors.
Yeah.
Why would you just pack up and go out to the woods?
Right. Exactly. I like Nothing Fancy. His videos just get too long for me sometimes.
Yeah. I'm same way. His videos get a little too long, but
Sometimes I'm
like,
just like, man, I can't do it no more. But no,
and then Aid brings up a good point. He's seen a video where him and his son for like 10 minutes were playing with toy airplanes at the beginning of the video.
hey, Rob's in there. Hey, Rob.
Oh, Rob's here?
Yeah.
No, I have to freaking go back.
I don't know where he's at.
I don't know where he's at either. If he is
Just
here,
help him.
hello, Rob. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, there he is. Howdy, kids. Hey, Dior. So that's his comment there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully things change, and like I said, folks can get helpful information.
Yeah. And see, yeah, but like that gray man prepper. Yeah, sit in place, until you're forced out. And that's my thoughts too.
I mean, that's what we did when we actually had to leave. We packed up both vehicles, and we had to do the, okay, grandma's painting is going to burn. We're going to take this. You know what I mean? We had to decide what we were going to take and all that good stuff. Threw it in the car, waited at like 3:00 in the morning. The boss lady nudged me and said, we got to go, because the phone said, get out now. Right.
Yeah.
And we had the little ones, this was like 5 years ago. So they're even littler than they are now. So we
Yeah.
got out while there's embers floating by the house and all that good stuff, and it's not, I didn't need fishing gear. I didn't need trapping gear. I didn't need the tinfoil blankets. I didn't need any of that. What I needed was, there was gas in the car, and I needed the car to work. And then the stuff we took was clothes and paperwork and the real stuff that you're really going to take.
Yeah.
Unless it's that 1% thing, and the nukes go off or something.
Yeah.
And even then, you're probably going to want to have some ID with you anyway, because at some point along the line, you're going to
run across the checkpoint.
Yeah, somewhere, and then even then, when you say about that, and then people are like, I just go around them. All right, so if me and you are standing a post, right? You've stood post before, so it's like, we're standing there, and we're looking down the road, and we see Bubba and a couple people coming this way, and then they stop, and then they
turn
pull off
around
into the woods,
Yeah.
or they turn around. We're gonna be like, oh, that's not cool.
Something's up.
And says,
We're gonna get on our radios. Hey, there are two vehicles.
Yeah, but if he walks up and says, hey guys, I'm trying to get to my mom's house. She lives, 2 miles down the road. And we go, okay, hold on, let's check. And we find out the grandma does live 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
Well, however we do that, right? You go, all right, dude, carry on. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
But that's too complicated for most of these people to explain to others, because again, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Oh, like that. And then, like I said, I think about the 1% thing, but I also think to myself, it's like, in all honesty, I'm not going to be able to take everything I've got with me. I'm really not. And if I'm going to be, like I said, if I'm bugging out, I'm taking my truck. End of the day, I'm taking my truck. My car is going to stay here. I'm going to pack as much as I can, but more than likely, I'm going to be leaving more than half of my shit behind. More than half of my stuff that I stockpiled up, it's going to be left behind. I'm not going to have enough room.
When we left, I got all my guns out, because I didn't want somebody to get in the house and get them. And then you say, all your guns. I don't have that many. And I'm supposed to be a gun guy. I don't have that many. Why? Because I got this hand and this hand. Right? And I mean, yeah, I can do the John Rambo and, a rifle in each one. Right? But I don't have that many. So I managed to get everything in the car, and I don't have 10,000, 100,000, however many fucking rounds they say of ammo you're supposed to have now. That when it comes to bug out time, what the fuck are you gonna do with it?
Yeah,
But
you ain't taking it with you. It's
I've
like
always
friggin'
had enough
packing a
ammo.
boat anchor in your friggin' bag.
I've always had enough ammo that I could throw it in the car and go, and that was always the plan, and that's what happened. You
Yeah,
know, when we got back, I missed one box of shotgun shells because it fell down and I didn't notice it.
yeah,
So if somebody broke in my house, cool, they'd have found one box of shotgun shells. That's way better than finding a shotgun or something, you know.
yeah,
And that was a for real bugging out. When we left, we did not plan on having a house when we came back.
yeah.
You know, it wasn't an exercise. It wasn't. We went
That
over
was for real.
to the TS house or the aunt's house. We didn't go over there just to hang out and have a barbecue, right? We sat over there with the TVs on, with our phones going. Me and the other dude, the other family that came with us, we were trying to figure out how to make the ham radios reach further, but they just couldn't because we just had the portable ones.
Yeah,
To try to hear what was going on. You know, we tried everything we could to still keep in touch with what was going on here, right? Which oddly enough, the best thing was the camera system I had on the house because it was over the internet
ah,
and the internet stayed up. So I kept switching to it on my phone and going, "Hey, bro, my house is still there, so hopefully yours is too," because they didn't live too far from us,
yeah,
right? I was like, "Yeah," you know, and a couple times there, I didn't show the wife and kids what I was seeing because the entire sky was red in the
yeah.
background of the shots, and you could see little things floating by. And I'm going, "Oh, this is gonna suck when the house starts burning and it records it." Yeah. So,
Did you
but
at
then
least save that feed somewhere to your phone or anything, or to an
I
external
didn't
hard
think
drive?
I didn't
Oh
actually think
man,
about doing any of that at the time, you know. And then
yeah, that'd been cool to just kind of be able to show that to everybody on YouTube.
yeah, well, no, I did a couple videos during that where I had my radios on the front porch of the old house, and I actually showed where the fire was burning across from us, right? But
Hmm.
then another fire started, and that's why we had to leave. That came at a different angle. But I showed everybody that stuff. I showed folks, working the radios. I showed all that stuff.
Was that the PG&E fire?
No, where
Oh,
the PG&E fire was north of here.
okay.
The fire that started here, it was actually over that way now. It used to be that way, but over that way. A dude with a big house and a lot of property decided to go out with his weed whacker or his lawnmower. No, it was a weed whacker. He went out with a weed whacker thing that had a chain on there or something, and
Yeah.
he made a spark, and that was it. And the fire
Oh,
ran up the hill, and then the fire that made us go, because so one fire was here, and then the fire that made us go was here. That was some homeless people cooking, marshmallows and stuff, and making graham cracker marshmallow things. Yeah,
okay, good. At least it wasn't some inept friggin' forestry service like, let's do a backburn right here.
no, it was not like that. And then the fire that happened further south of us, um, I believe that was the same thing. Homeless folks started
Yeah,
that one.
actually, there was a really bad fire. Not here, not where I live, but in town where I go to school. There was a fire. Apparently, I guess they just finished putting it out today, but started yesterday. As we were getting off school, it was a homeless camp. Friggin' started a fire underneath one of the highway overpasses.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then, gosh dang, the other thing you said on Gil's live stream the other night, man, I was dying. I heard, you're talking about, these, you're making the analogy, but you're talking about these people. It's like, I know tactics, I know how to do this, and this, and my father was in the Marine Corps and he did this, and this. And it's like, that doesn't mean anything. And it's like, it's just like, that's just like me, talking to other people that who know how to can and preserve food. It's like, oh, I know how to can and preserve food. Just stick some meat, put it in a jar, screw the lid on really tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I said that, because the folks in the comment section over there, they know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I've done it a couple times, but
Yeah.
I've never tried meat. That's above my pay grade. You know what I mean? But
I've done water bathing, water bath canning of fruit,
Mhm.
but I've seen, other people like my back home, we had a family friend from church. She would can all the time. She grew gardens. She preserved food. I mean, I got to see her pantry, and like at least half her pantry was like home canned stuff. But like I said, she went down to show my mom how to can pork, and their pressure cook can. I've never pressure cooked canned anything.
No,
I know it's a little bit more intense and it's a little bit more difficult. And I guess like a lot of the meats you have to pressure can.
There's Palmetto. Palmetto's trying to get me to do pressure canning, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm gonna blow the house up. S'mores. There you go. I couldn't remember what the hell they were
called. Pressure canning is easy. Yeah, I guess it's easy to him. I've never done it. I've only ever done water bath. And then I know there's one where you do a dry canning with a vacuum sealer, like that's the actual like vacuum attachment that sucks out all the air out of the jar and the lid sucks closed. And then there's another method of dry canning where you put everything in the jar, you put the jars and the lids in the oven and you bake it. You just trying to get the air to expand inside the jar because it expands as it gets hot, and then when it cools off, it condenses, and then the lid sucks itself down. Like I haven't experimented doing any of that. Right. Like I've only done a little bit of water bath canning, and I haven't done that in years, and it was only with fruit. So
yeah, what you're saying is the difference between you and some of these other folks. You said, I don't know how to do something. Does that make sense? And,
yeah.
And for whatever reason, some of these people, well, no, I know how to do everything. No, you don't, man. You can't possibly know everything. Does that make sense?
I've done a lot. I've done a lot with my hands. I can do a lot with my hands as far as, trying to figure stuff out, but I don't know everything.
Right.
And I'm not Billy Badass who's going to start kicking down doors and showing everybody what for, because I'm not,
Right.
Like I said, my experience as far as all that shit that I just told you, my experience is just pretty much just guarding a government asset. Okay. Standing watch as a topside sentry or as petty officer of the deck or as a gate guard and guarding a government asset. I didn't do any of that CQC stuff. I didn't do any of that shit. So I don't know what I've got some ideas, and, I would like to eventually get around to, practicing them, but unfortunately I'm just not in an area where I can do that. That's why I'm hoping to eventually get, when I get this job as a lineman, be able to afford to buy my own property.
Yeah.
That way I can set up a custom gun range and be able to practice some CQC or something like that.
But see, that's what I did. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I figured you did that because you talk about that.
No, and I started doing that when I was 17 and stopped doing it when I was 47, technically 46, because I retired 2 weeks before my birthday, just so I could say I retired at 46, but it was actually 47. So, for all those years, that's what I did. And I get frustrated seeing these guys on here saying that they can just go do it. It's like, no, you can't, dude.
No.
It doesn't work like that. And
usually you got more than one when you are storming the house, even if we're just doing basic, entry level tactics, SWAT level tactics. You got more than one person, so there's going to have to be some communication. Everybody's going to have to know what their role is, what they're doing. And you better be keeping your finger off the bang switch, and you better have your muzzle pointed in a safe direction. And you better
no, none of that matters, man. None of that.
What happens if there's like a 6-year-old girl that's in this house that you're storming, and you accidentally take her out, you're going to live with that
a little more
positive
life. All right. You need to be a little more positive. Focus on the positive. All right.
Okay. What's positive?
The positive is me and Bubba. We go on down there, we kick the front door in, we kill all the goddamn commies, and we come out unscathed. All right? We do some positive thinking. That's where you need to start with.
Oh yeah. Gray Man, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And I remember you saying that in your live stream there, Gray Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing why do you think I'm learning to grow a garden? I finally got to the point where I went, wait a minute.
I know how to do this, and this, but I don't know how to do this.
I got food, I got guns, I got all these good things. But if this was like protracted, I don't know how to grow food.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And like I said, I'm kind of in the same boat right now. I can't really grow hardly anything. The only thing I've been able to successfully grow here is potatoes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I started with. I was like, woohoo, I grew potatoes. All righty. You know?
Yeah.
And it's,
Trying to grow things from seeds are a pain in the ass.
yeah, I'm
Especially if
finding
you don't know
out.
what the hell you're doing.
I put some onions in there that were seeds. They ain't working.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
I
know.
tried sprouting some things from seeds. I tried doing what Staff Sergeant BA and Sippy Cup were doing, trying to sprout things from seeds because I had some seeds I stored in the freezer for a long time. I was like, you know what? I got to see if these are even worth the damn. Like I said, they were just some cheapo seeds I bought from the Dollar Tree and see if I could grow anything. And none of them, not one seed, not one sprouted.
Yeah.
And I grew like I had 3 or 4 different types of veggies and fruits I was trying to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, Palmetto's right, where he's saying that they're trying to say that gardening's woman's work. No, it's not, man. Not if you're in that glorious, SHTF and things are going on and da da da. All you got to do is look back, man. The dude running the farm, he was out there gardening too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's another thing where these dudes on here think that they're going to just, they're going to become the warlord of the land and they're going to rule the roost, and everyone else will do their bidding because that's how it should be. Like, yeah, okay, man. I ain't going to be your
You and
bitch.
everybody else. There's a lot of people that got these friggin' falsehood ideas of grandeur that, they're going to be this, that, and the other.
Yeah. And, I got told one time I was the anti-prepper, and I said, "Well, I'm not a prepper. That's not what I do. I'm not sitting here in a knitting circle talking about what we're going to do in Mad Max, because that's what a whole lot of preppers do. It's going to be really cool, brother. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, brother. It's going to be great, brother. Oh, man, that isn't how it works. You got to do the nitty gritty stuff. You got to have a sleeping bag for everybody in the house.
Oh,
Stupid
yeah.
stuff like that nobody wants to talk about.
Like I said, over here, even though I'm renting, like I said, I installed 4 fire extinguishers over here. Fires are going to happen.
Right.
And, everybody, like I said, there's a lot of people that think, oh, it's going to be just a big old friggin' firefight. It's like, I'm sorry, you talk to anybody who was stationed overseas in the sandbox, and a lot of them were going to tell you, shit, over 90% of the time was sitting around and just waiting. We're just going through just normal everyday things, and not even 10% was actual firefight. And for the actual firefight there was, it only lasted maybe a couple minutes at most. Usually is over within seconds.
Yeah, but it's a mostly guy thing. It used to be younger guys, but I see older dudes doing it now too. That they yearn for the combat, they yearn for the battle because they ain't never been there.
I don't want to be there.
And I don't want to go back there. I'm retired, thank you. I've been in scraps, and not with and without the body armor, without the guns. I've done it just me mano a mano with other dudes. It's not fun, man. But if you haven't been there, it's like not knowing what Disneyland's really like. You go to Disneyland and you stand in line for an hour, then you're on the ride for 10 minutes, and you got to go stand in another line for 2 fucking hours.
Yep.
And then you go to buy a hot dog and it costs you $8 for just a goddamn hot dog. But you had a good idea what Disneyland was like before you got there,
Yep.
And then it's time to go home and you can't fucking remember where you parked and your feet hurt. And you're like, man,
I love that. That is an excellent analogy. I love that, the Disneyland analogy. I take it you've been there then.
Yeah, that's where these guys that do the, my grandfather, my dad, my uncle did, so I know. It's like, man, just do me a favor and shut
your
mouth.
mouth.
Yeah.
Like you said, like you would say, shut your freaking cock holster.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, man. I'm not gonna say this dude's name, but there was one guy that was, beating his chest all day long. And then some people said, hey, man, well, what have you actually done? Well, I've done nothing. Well, yeah, exactly. You've done nothing. That's why you're beating your fucking chest, Because if you'd actually done something, you wouldn't beat your chest. And most dudes that have been there and done that, they don't beat their chest about it. I mean, they'll talk about it frankly, like, yeah, this happens and that happens. Is this what you got to do? And it's the same thing with, this whole concept that we're talking about here. Well, yeah, I want to bug out. Well, no, you don't, because if you did, you'd have done it already.
Yeah.
And if you want to go live hardcore somewhere, well, hell, man, go live in Syria, go live in Mexico.
Mexico, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, you want to sit here and enjoy the American culture that's still around you.
You want to enjoy your air conditioning, your access to HBO and friggin' Netflix and your internet.
Yeah.
And have your cell phone.
The hardest dudes would be the ones that we never hear about because they don't have the phones, they don't have anything.
Yeah.
They're living in a hole out in the forest somewhere.
Or classic example, they're Bushmen. They live out in Alaska.
Yeah.
Reaches of Alaska.
If you want to be hardcore, live out of a bag, well, take your ass to Alaska, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that ungrateful. Actually, one of the guys that I know from my old job working at Bailey's Moving Storage, he went to Somalia as a contractor, more from an advisement standpoint, So I know what you mean by that.
Well, and that's another thing. A lot of guys in the modern military, they haven't gone against folks that have the same amount of equipment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not taking away a goddamn thing they did, because I've been there, done that. But there's a difference in the way you do things and how things are done when the other guy's dropping artillery on your ass back.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And I'm actually working on a video for that. Because I asked the question, how come all the tactical kids aren't talking about the Ukraine? I mean, it's right there. As Wayne's saying, it's right there. You can see videos of it every day. So don't tell me what you might carry. Why don't you look and see what those guys are carrying in a modern battlefield, And some dudes be like, well, I live in the woods. I never have to worry about that. No, they're fighting in the woods. Well, I live on a farm. No, they're fighting on farms. Well, that's urban fighting. Yeah, they're fighting there too. They're fighting in all those conditions. So if you want to see something similar to where you're at, go do a little research, man, and see what these guys are actually doing in real life right now tonight,
Yeah.
That takes away from the fantasy. So stop talking about
that. I mean, I know, I guess, like I said, it's all going to depend on where you live, a lot of this, because like it's really going to be a roll of the dice. I mean, as I understand it, being prepared, it doesn't guarantee your survival, and like, especially if it's something like prolonged, but it does greatly increase your odds, because if you're not prepared for even just the day-to-day things, you're in a lot of trouble.
Exactly.
Not necessarily die, but
right,
life is going to be a lot more difficult than what it needed to be.
And that's for people. If you can take care of like normal stuff, normal emergency preparedness, then you're a step ahead for that 1% of the end of the world stuff.
Yeah.
Because you have food, you have water, you have all these things. Like I was talking about earlier, the people up in the mountains here, they're freaking out because they didn't have any of that stuff to go a couple days. Why? Because for the last 10 years or so, we haven't had weather like this,
Yeah. And like I said, I kind of like, in the hypothetical, grid down, Teowaki, the SHTF, WROL. I hope for me, like, my job is to, be doing maintenance, maybe building shit from scratch. And if needs be, I get called to actually restore the power grid, because that's what I'm trying to go to school for, is to become a lineman. I'm not trying to be Mr. Like I said, I'm gonna start kicking down doors and start storming houses or anything like that. I don't want I don't want that to be my job. Like,
what? Yeah, it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be all motivated by that. Hey, Washburn Billy, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I would, don't get me wrong, I would like to have that other knowledge for, at least for my benefit, at least knowing how to do it. But I don't want that to be my job.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to be able to stand. All I want to do is just stand my duty, my shift of guard duty, do my fair share of splitting the firewood, do my fair share of canning and putting up food and gardening, and then the normal boring shit that everybody takes for granted and thinks it's not important,
Yeah,
just
but it's no fun to talk about that.
well, I mean, majority of life is not fun. That's the reality of things.
But but
Life isn't all about being fun.
but 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 in SHTF it'd be fun because then I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, so can a lot of other people.
No,
But there's still going to be repercussions if you plan on, living in a community. There's
yeah,
still got to be
I
some
know.
sort of law, some sort of bylaw or something. We can't just all, every man for himself and do whatever we want.
Well, I mean,
There's
that's
going
why.
to be plenty of raping and pillaging going on around us. We don't need it where we're at.
Yeah, and I don't know, dude. That's and when you start talking about the bad advice and all that other good stuff that's out there, it's just I think it's time people just look at those other people and just tell them to shut the fuck up, man. You know, like okay, you're super groovy and you did this, that, or the other, and you're a YouTube god. Okay, now why don't you sit down and shut up because everything you said either hasn't happened or it did happen and you didn't do what you said you were going to do. So shut the fuck up. I don't know. Seems simple enough. I don't think that people should be spending time on the fantasy, and that's what they're working towards. Work towards the reality of bettering your position now, which should things go south, will probably put you in a better position to deal with that then, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, that's part of the reason why I kind of want to get the homestead established. And like I said, I would like to have my perimeter fencing, maybe a couple of obstacles that aren't obvious to, the everyday average person. I was like, oh, he's got a ditch dug, probably for flood control or water control. No,
Mhm.
that ditch is actually there as an obstacle, so that way, some jackhole can't drive his pickup truck through my fence.
Yeah. No, I've had more than one conversation with people about stuff like that. Just putting up decorative things and or like you said, trenches that look like they're for flood control. When
Yeah,
actuality, you're not getting a normal sized car over that.
yeah,
You know, even if you just got a normal pickup truck, you're not going to get over that. You got some big old monster truck. Well, yeah, sure, you're going to drive through a little ditch, no problem.
yeah,
But even then, if you take that ditch and build it right, even that big old monster truck isn't going to get over it.
yeah.
But you have to know how to do that, and not enough
Well,
people.
let's be real here. How many people have monster trucks? Probably about the
Right.
same number of people that have tanks.
Yeah, but even if you get, because believe it or not, even in California, we have it with the jacked up trucks that got the
Yeah,
extra
yeah, yeah.
clearance,
The
right?
mud boggers.
Right. So even then, if you know how to dig the trench properly, they won't. They still can't. They'll what do you
They'll
call that?
try. They'll high
Well,
center.
yeah. When the front tires would drop in and they'll be freaking stuck, or they'll roll it over on top of themselves. Like, okay, cool. Either way, you're done. But that's the boring. Get a shovel, dig a ditch. That's no fun. Let's talk about how we're going to rebuild society after everything.
I
And
mean, I guess I'd be focusing on rebuilding it from, the inside out. So the inside of my prepping homestead and try to see if I can work my way out. Try to see if I can network with anybody else who's still alive, who's not going to try to kill me. And see if
right,
I can get something. Like I said, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be able to save the world. I'm just one guy. Okay, I'm just one guy. And like you said, all it takes is for somebody like you to get 99 buddies of yours, and you all you have to do is just come in and just kick my door down and slit my throat and everything, and then it's done. It's
yeah,
over with.
dude. I mean, and honestly, I it's not that hard. And I know people want to say, well, yeah, it is. No, it happens all the time in other countries. How we were talking the other night on Gilsing. Like, okay, yeah, you got your farm, you're 20, 30 miles away from other people. They just drive to you, and then it's just you and them. And, it happens all the time. And I'm sorry, John Rambo is a movie.
Yep.
You know, I'm smart enough that I'm going to find some physician I can watch your house, and you go out to the outhouse every morning at 5. When you go to the outhouse, like 10 of us just open up on the outhouse, and now it's just your wife and kids. And I'm pretty sure we're going to convince your wife to come out.
Yep.
I don't know how else to say it like that. Uh,
Hey, it's okay if you're graphic, you know.
well, no, and I mean,
If YouTube shuts my stream down, I'm not going to be upset, okay?
well,
Because
I
the
mean,
truth
here's the
needs to be
difference.
heard.
If I showed up and I felt compelled to do that to somebody, well, I'm not doing anything to the wife or kids. They can go about their way. Just give me all your food and your chickens,
Yep.
you know, and then, well, fuck you after that, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's a hypothetical I wouldn't do to begin with. You know, if it's
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll up at the farmer's house and be like, "Hey,
Well,
dude."
you sound like you're the little bit more considerate marauder, because I'm, you know, like you're
Well,
not a
no, and
marauder in my book. But I'm just
the only reason I assume that marauder thing in these last couple conversations I've had is because I'm told that's what I am because I live in the city.
saying.
Does that make sense? Or
Yeah.
damn city slickers are gonna come out here. Yeah, man. And if me and the homeboys come out there, you're fucked.
Yeah. And
You know,
it's like you said with these gangs, you know, like, and like I said, I don't have nearly as much knowledge or as much experience with the gangs as you do, because, you know, you work in the prison system and all that. But I was pretty well aware, you know, I knew from get-go, even when I was in the MEP station, you know, they were trying to figure out, you know, hey, if you got tattoos, we got to document, you know, what
yep.
tattoos you have, because we got to figure out if this person's affiliated with some gang or some extremist group, because like that's what a lot of these gang members do. They will I know, you know, like I know, you know this. I'm just saying, like, I know that they will recruit people off the street, purposely make sure they're not, you know, tatted up and marked up, so they go in the military, get their training, turn around, and, you know, when they get out, educate these gang members, you know, on tactics, military tactics, how to do this, that,
Yeah,
and the
no,
other.
it's
And
true.
like you said, there's an actual organization to these people. You know, it's not like they're a bunch of, you know, they're just bumbling idiots.
Yeah, but that takes away from the fantasy when you underestimate the opposition, when you don't underestimate the opposition. Does that make
Every
sense?
time every time I've underestimated my opponent, or every time I've overestimated my abilities, I always got myself in trouble.
Right, exactly. You know, and and that's another giant fallacy of, you know, the end of the world folks talking about this stuff, is they always assume the other guy's a dumbass, you know, and it's just it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, and they really don't. Wayne's 100% right on that. And again, I don't care what gang it is or what criminal group it is. Hey, they're far more comfortable with violence than your average person. Which means, you know, they'll hit you in the head with a hammer and you're still going, "Hey, what? Why you hit me in the head with a hammer?"
Yeah, they don't need a reason.
Right. And but people don't understand that. You know what I mean? Because they're, I don't know, they just,
You know, criminals are going to criminal. That's why they're criminals.
right. I mean, just tonight, I sent you that little note watching a guy. He
Oh,
carjacked
yep.
somebody in Riverside County, drove to LA County, was shooting at the cops, was shooting through his windshield at people, you know, and was just doing all kinds of crazy. And then I guess when he finally ran out of gas, he jumped out, made sure he didn't have a weapon because the police have to operate by rules, right?
Yeah.
Tried to jump in somebody else's truck, but their door was locked. Good for them, right?
Yeah.
And then when the cop came and put hands on him, he just laid down because the rules say he can lay down and they can't beat upon him as they yeah.
As they should.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But I mean, that's, I don't know. People don't understand there won't be that option.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Western Outpost. Like I said, when I'm finished with school, I'm moving out of here. I'm freaking done. It's getting too expensive. Rent here is ridiculous. To even get an apartment that's, like I said, to even get a decent apartment that's single bedroom, it's $1,500 a month here. And if you want to buy a house, in town, minimum $500,000. I'm not kidding you. So I'm getting out of here. It's too expensive. I'm expatriating myself from Colorado. I'm going to move down to Tejas. Besides, I was told there's a lot of opportunities as a lineman apprentice down there, so might as well, right?
Yeah, well, my oldest just moved out of California and he's now in Colorado.
Yeah.
I won't say out loud where. You can give me later, I'll tell you, but I won't say it on here.
Yeah, you don't need to. I don't need to know. Don't worry about it. Yeah, no, like I said, it's just it. Yeah, like I said, when you started first talking about that bug out bag thing, though, man, I was just like, I could not. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, like I talked about this for years, man. People keep talking about this. It's like bugging out, unless you know danger is imminent and you gotta go. Like you said, friggin' forest fire's coming. It's gonna burn the whole neighborhood down. Why are you bugging out? Why are you going to abandon your four walls and your roof?
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate you coming on here. I'm kind of running out of topics to talk about, and you've
all right.
much hit everything that I don't want to keep you too long. I appreciate you coming out here, and I appreciate everybody else who came out to watch. Again, I do apologize for the technical difficulties trying to get the stream going.
Oh,
I
no
don't
big
use
deal.
StreamYard that often. You know, like I said, I very rarely do a live stream. The last live stream I did was when I was with Wes S and Aid over at Wes's place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, and I appreciate you giving your little spin. Like I said, I'm just an average guy, you know, just average guy, just trying to work out things, you know, hoping that eventually get myself in a little bit better position. Everybody's chomping at the bit. Oh, I want the shit hit the fan. You know, I want the shit hit the fan now. It's like, I don't want to hit the fan. I really don't, because I know the things that we take for granted are going to be gone. You know, they're going to be gone in a blink, you know, just like that, you know. People never talk about, hey, what are we going to do with the garbage and the trash that piles up? You know, it's going to attract it's not, you know, it's going to attract scavengers, it's going to attract rodents and pests, and it's going to attract other people because they're going to see, oh, this guy's got a giant pile of friggin' food trash, you know, friggin' freeze-dried food wrappers and MRE wrappers out there. He must still have food. Let's,
Yeah.
let's give him a little knock.
Yeah, but that stuff's no fun to talk about.
Yeah. Well, like I said, unfortunately, reality isn't fun. You know, everyday life isn't fun. You know,
This is true.
Majority of my day, you know, is not fun. It's just, I just try to make the best of whatever situation I'm in.
There you go. That's all any of us can actually do.
Yeah. Let's see. My win can beat up your win, Rob. Yeah. Come out to East Tennessee. I love it out here. The wind is always knocking power out. Probably work for that kind of thing. Yeah. I imagine out there, though, out in Tennessee, you guys would probably during wintertime get a lot of ice storms. That's the biggest thing that takes out a lot of the power lines is the ice storms. Yeah, some strong straight line winds can take out the power, can bounce the high voltage power lines enough to where it can cause them to fault, or it can cause an old wooden power pole to snap. But yeah, ice storms and hurricanes and fire are like the three biggest things that take out the power grid, as I understand it. But anyhow, I think that's about it. Thanks for coming out, guys. And yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you for showing up.
No problem. Everybody take care.
Yeah, you guys have a good one. All right, bye-bye.